I get asked all the time how I grow so many cucumbers in the summer. So today I'm going to share with you my no-fail secrets for growing a ton of cucumbers. And you've got to follow these crucial steps or your cucumbers aren't going to produce or won't produce to their full potential. And these tricks have made all the difference in my garden. First of all, when you're planting cucumbers, the timing is absolutely critical. They love warm temperatures. So if you try and plant them too soon, before the temperature is between 60 and 80 or 85 degrees, they're just not going to thrive or get off to a good start. Cucumbers love the heat and don't recover from cold like tomatoes and peppers do. So plant them when the air temperature is warm. Not only that though, when the soil temperature is warm. When you plant seeds in warm soil, between 60 and 75 degrees again, or even warmer, they're going to pop up and germinate and get off to a really good start. And they're not going to struggle like they would if you plant them in cold soil. You got to start with the foundation, the soil. It's all in the soil. If you try and use poor quality potting mix in your containers or your garden soil, they're just not going to take off. Use the best quality soil that you could possibly afford. My favorite is Bumper Crop potting mix. It's got all kinds of great fertilizers. One of my secrets for containers is choose a container size that's big enough to handle the cucumbers that you're growing. You don't want to grow in a 1-gallon container. I like at least a 10 or a 5-gallon smart pot. I recommend about 3 plants for a 5-gallon container. In this 10-gallon, I've got 4 plants and even a couple little extra stems that are coming out that I'm going to snip off and let the strongest ones grow. That's the key to really producing a ton in a container. This next secret is the biggest secret why I'm able to grow a ton of cucumbers in my garden. Not all cucumbers are created equal. There's cucumbers of different types: parthenocarpic, gaunaceous, and monaceous. If you grow cucumbers that include all those different types, you're gonna be able to grow a ton. Now let me explain to you why this is so very critical. Cucumbers generally produce both male and female flowers. Once the female flower gets pollinated by the male flower, it will start to grow fruit under the flower. Now, a lot of people get very frustrated because your cucumbers only produce male flowers. That's perfectly normal. The male flowers come out first. However, if your cucumber plant continues to produce only male flowers throughout the season, you're not going to get cucumbers. And often this happens if watering or fertilizing is inconsistent, or if it's really, really hot. So parthenocarpic cucumbers are huge because they only produce female flowers and they don't need pollination in order to produce cucumbers. What I've been doing the past couple of years is including more parthenocarpic varieties in my garden. One of my favorites is Diva. There's also Bait Alpha. You can grow these in a greenhouse because they don't need pollination, but I've primarily grown Diva and they grow like crazy and produce a ton. I've got a couple of Diva plants right here, and even though they're pretty young plants, they're absolutely loaded with female flowers and little tiny cucumber plants. Now, monaceous varieties are more like the standard variety cucumber, the Space Master, Market More, Boston Pickling. They produce both male and female flowers on one plant. But sometimes if they don't get pollinated, those plants will struggle and not produce. So in that case, if you're growing only those varieties, you may need to hand pollinate, which is labor intensive and sometimes difficult to do, and you may not get good cucumber production. Now, the third type of cucumbers is gaunaceous, and these produce mainly female flowers. So when you're growing a gaunaceous variety, you also have to have some monaceous varieties that produce both male and female flowers in order for those plants to produce. And some good gaunaceous varieties are Dashel, Bristol, and Thunder. So the bottom line is, if you plant cucumber varieties that include those 3 different types, you're sure to be able to grow a ton of cucumbers in your garden. But if you want to make it easy on yourself, grow more parthenocarpic varieties than anything else, because those are surefire producers with those only female flowers. Now, I know that's a ton of information, but the good news is I do carry cucumber seeds on our website. Our cucumber seed collection has 5 different varieties that include both parthenocarpic and monaceous types. If you find my videos helpful, please consider subscribing. Next secret is trellis your cucumbers, but not only that, trellis them early. Now, when you don't trellis them, you're risking your cucumbers being a big floppy jungle. And let me show you what I mean by this. These cucumbers along here, I've been trellising regularly, but one did escape me, and it's trailing off down here over the raised bed. Now imagine if I just let this cucumber continue on its growth without trellising it or tying it up. Look at where it's growing. It's going to grow right out here onto the grass. It's going to be a big, huge mess. And not only that, it's not going to have good airflow underneath the plant. And it's going to be more prone to critters getting it, disease coming in and taking it over. And when you trellis your cucumbers, you keep them up off the ground. And then it also allows you to be able to harvest them better so you can see the fruit before it gets too overripe. So what I like to use are these little tomato clips. Makes it super easy just to clip it on here to a trellis. And you can also use the stretchy tie tape if you want to. Now, a couple quick trellis ideas for you. This is a really beautiful, tall, 7-foot arch. The cucumbers will grow up and over and then hang down the middle, which is gonna look really pretty. So I'll put a link to this in the video description. A DIY option, which is one of my favorites, I've used this for years, it's tried and true, is this ladder mesh trellis. Now, I've showed this in a lot of my videos, but you can get these ladder meshes at your local hardware store. Just arch them over your garden bed. I've got 2 of them tied together here with a cable tie. Plant my cucumbers at the bottom, and it makes a really nice archway here over a little shorty raised bed. So whatever you do, just pick a trellis that works for your space and works for your budget. Next up is watering and feeding, which is really the powerhouse for nonstop cucumbers all summer. Now, cucumbers are very hungry plants and they're very thirsty plants, especially in the summer heat. They have fairly shallow roots, so if they're not getting consistent watering or deep watering, they're just not going to produce, and you'll get droopy, kind of sad looking plants or dried out, wilted, dead plants, which is even worse. So to keep my watering consistent, I've got drip irrigation installed here in my Smart Pot urban raised bed. I'm using the Mr. Landscaper system, which I really like because not only is it hooked up to a timer right over here, I can adjust the frequency of watering on really hot days, but it also has a little shutoff valve back here, which means that if it's getting too much water, or this is a shaded area, so it might not need as much water as another area of my garden, I can adjust the shutoff valve here so it doesn't get overwatered. If you've never installed drip irrigation before, it's a game changer. You can water your whole garden at once, and it keeps your watering consistent, which is one of the most important things. So don't be intimidated by the thought of installing it. I've got a drip irrigation video that shows exactly how to do it step by step. You'll be so glad you did. Along with being thirsty plants, cucumbers are very heavy feeders. They're hungry plants too. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of only feeding their plants at the beginning of the season, but you've got to keep it consistent throughout the season in order for the cucumbers to produce. So here I'm giving them the bumper crop tomato and vegetable fertilizer. It's a granular fertilizer. It's got a good amount of nitrogen, but also the phosphorus, which really helps them at flowering time. So I give them another dose of this since they're flowering right now. It also has calcium in it, which is good because that way cucumbers won't get blossom end rot. So I'm just sprinkling a little bit here in the soil, kind of scratching it in. And this is a time release fertilizer, so it'll feed them over the next month or so. But usually I apply this about once a month during the growing season. Now, since my cucumbers are starting to flower, I'm going to give them another dose of water-soluble fertilizer here, and it will really help kick them into production mode. And for this, I'm using the Monterey Fish and Guano. So not only does this have fish fertilizer, but it also has bat guano and a good amount of phosphorus, which again will really encourage the fruit production of the cucumbers. And this combination has worked well for me in my garden for many years. I mean, just look around at my garden. The proof is definitely in all my fruits and vegetables and how beautiful and lush my garden looks. So I am going to go ahead and soak down the base of my cucumbers here. This also helps activate the granular fertilizer. And you guys, I'm telling you, this is such a winning combination. I can't wait for you to try it in your garden so you've got non-stop cucumbers all season long too. My last secret here is to harvest at the right time, or it can completely shut down your cucumber production. And let me explain what I mean. If you let your cucumbers completely mature on the vine until they get yellow and absolutely massive, it sends a signal to the cucumber plant that it's done its job. Its job is to produce seeds for future reproduction. And those big, massive, large cucumbers are full of seeds. Once it gets to that point, the cucumber plant thinks it's done its job and it shuts down for the season. So make sure that you harvest early. Most cucumbers, the ideal size is about 6 to 8 inches long. For pickling cucumbers, it might be 4 to 6 inches long. You're gonna get better tasting cucumbers without bitterness if you harvest them at about the right size. If you're not sure what the ideal size is for your variety, just look it up online. And I always like to err on the side of too early rather than too late, because regular early harvesting will encourage your plant to produce more fruit And that way you get a good supply of cucumbers all summer long. I hope you found this video helpful and learned something that'll help you get really excited about growing cucumbers in your garden this summer. As always, I'll be reading the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.